Okay, so I'm going to put the roof on to enclose the building, and so I've got the levels set up. I'm going to go into the sorry, got my phone. Going to the elevation there, just so you can get an idea of the heights and how this is all going to work. I've got the level 1 ceiling level, which I've used for the top of the walls on the side, either side, and also that's where the truss sits. So the bottom of the truss sits on that level 1 ceiling. And we may not even have a ceiling on that level, but it's called ceiling for now because typically you would have the ceiling lining under that truss. So that's also where the roof is typically going to pitch from. So here, that rafter would come down and the roof will come essentially from this level. So we've got a truss though, and it's set above that. So I'm going to check that height just by measuring, so to the level there. It's trying to snap from my window, so I'll just make sure it's getting. Oh yeah, it's getting the truss, so you can see down on the status bar. Okay, so that's 470 that I'll need to raise my roof. And I'm going to put in some reference planes just to mark where the sides of my truss are. Yeah, no, they are fantastic. And so both sides I need to mark. And notice I've stretched them so that they cut through level 1 ceiling. That's really important. Okay, so back in my level 1 ceiling plan now, I can see those two reference planes. But then I'm just going to go back into the elevation. I'm going to double click on the west arrow there to also check the angle of that truss. So again, just using measure. Going to click on the end of the truss on the left and then go to the peak of that and check the angle there. So visually I can see it's 17.874. I'll need to remember that. Okay, so back to level 1 ceiling. And I'm going to go to roof by footprint. And then straight away I'm going to go to pick lines and pick one of those reference planes, making sure define slope is turned on. I'll pick that reference plane and then change my slope to that angle, 17.874, wasn't it? And then I'll do the same on the bottom. Then I'll turn define slope off, and now with pick walls, I'm going to pick the inside of the front and the back wall. That we can see cut because that's been lifted when I've done the parapet. And then with trim to corner, just join those together. Okay, so I'll finish that now and check it in the 3D view. And you can see that it lines up with the roof. It's at the same angle. It's pretty clear. If I select the roof, then I can change it to a thinner roof for now, 125 or something should be okay to get started. And then to lift it up, you've got in properties base offset from level. You'll change it to 470, which I measured before, and there you can see it sitting on top of the truss. So that's essentially how the roof is in real life. And we've got a gutter then that sits in on the edge. But because you probably don't want to model that gutter at first, I'm going to go back into the plan view and use the eaves option to bring that out. It's really important that you're pitching the roof from that point because that's where we've measured. you try to do it from here, you get the angle, but then lifting it up would be more difficult. So I'm going to measure this distance. So it's a funny number, 498.2. So that's okay, I'll just make it 498. And so I'm going to select the roof, edit footprint, and then selecting those lines. We didn't use pick walls, so sorry, I've got to use, we're going to have to use a different option. So I'm just going to change this to 0 here, so that's, you can see the same angle, the same value, and that will bring it out. And so I'm going to have to go back on what I said before, because I can bring it out. So we'll just bring that out to the side, finish it, and then you'll see in the section, so in my section 2, the height now has gone out because it's measuring from the same point. But if you move it here, without even knowing what the height is, you can just use move, and then snap to the intersection there using the reference plane, and then come down to the corner of the truss. So that's going to take it to where the edge of the wall is, but the wall still doesn't come up high enough. So I'm just going to select that wall and drag it up so that it's going to enclose it. And that would be fine. You don't need to be too fussy with things like this. The wall's there, you're not building it again. You just want to show something to people that gives an indication. So that's good enough. And so if I look in my interior now, it's fully enclosed. I won't get light leaking in. But, oh yeah, one last thing though with the ceiling. If you want a ceiling, in other words, if you need lights to go under this, then you'll need a ceiling. So if you go to place a light in, so I'll go to my level 1 ceiling plan. So I should be able to place lights there. Okay, so I'm going to go to component, and then load family, and then lighting, and find a light. Any of these should work. Let's go for the spot. Not working. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, there's also the view range to think about. So, if I look at the view range here, I'm going to set the top and the view depth both to unlimited. And then I can see the trusses and the underside of the roof. So that'll help. But I still don't have a ceiling there. So to make a ceiling that's sloped, a good way is just to go into the section, and you can use model in place, and then set the category to ceilings. And, well, I'll just leave the name, that's fine. Extrusion, you can use to make it, and then making sure it's on pick a plane. And then OK, I can pick the front of that truss. So just making sure you get the whole outer edge highlighted. And now using pick lines, I can pick the bottom of the roof. And then I'll offset those. 10 mil is really what they'd be, so that's what I'll do. It's just a bit hard to see because they're very close together, those lines, but it's, yeah, for ceiling lining. Yep. We'd have sarking and all sorts of other stuff, but we'll say that's in the roof structure. So, yeah, ceiling lining, it's Super Seal is the product, and yeah, 10 mil is standard, even less sometimes. Yeah.
So when you pick the truss before you pick the actual ceiling lining you're going to bring down,
Yeah.
did you do that so that it was, you were telling the Revit that you were going to be selecting truss? Is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't lock it to it or anything, but yeah, I used it as a reference essentially just to get the angle. Yeah. And yeah, so pick lines where you can.
Horizontal plus angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To work out. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, because you picked the bottom of the truss first before
The
you
horizontal
actually went to the...
truss.
Oh no, oh yeah, so that was setting the plane.
Oh,
So
setting the plane.
yeah, so I'm drawing from the side
Oh, okay.
because I'm drawing in a
So,
section.
I see what you mean. So you're setting the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the family, when you made the truss in the family file, you don't have to do that because it sets the planes up for you. But in the project file, you've got to choose the planes manually. Yeah, in sections usually you'll have something that you're looking at that you can always choose. And so here, I'm just going to finish off that shape, and essentially it's an upside down V that I've got under the truss. And I haven't worried about the depth, but I'll do that afterwards. So I'm going to finish this now, and then back in my level 1 ceiling plan, I can see it there, and I can stretch that all the way so it goes the full length of the building.
And that's your feeling that you've created under the roof.
Exactly. So now I've finished the model. Exactly, exactly. So then if I go back to component, the light's still loaded.
Yeah.
There we go. So I can place them in there.
So you can do that from above. You don't actually have to go into the ceiling.
Yeah.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So the building actually has skylights in it.
Yeah.
So if you were proposing to keep them, or to
Yeah, you can cut through those things.
you can just cut through the
Yep.
ceiling as well.
Yep, and the roof. Yep. Yep. So just like a floor for the shape you want cut out in plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just stick glass or whatever.
Yeah.
in.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. And there actually are skylight families as well that you can insert, and they'll cut out and then put the framing and the glass and everything
And
in
then
together.
you want, like industrial, like strip lighting on like a metal cable.
Yeah, now that can be an issue. No, you can do it, but see these families here, they're ceiling hosted. So that light, it's picked up the ceiling and it's gone at the angle of it, which is really good. And so most of the lights in the library are either ceiling or floor hosted or wall hosted. They're usually hosted by one of the main objects. But if you want to put your own in that maybe would go on this truss that are floating,
Yeah.
you've essentially got to either use something that you get somewhere, from Revit City or somewhere, or make it yourself. And I'm going to go through that. They're not that difficult to make. So you can, yeah. And you can model your own, yeah. Once you just can model solids in a family like you did with the truss, it's the same in a light family, but then you've got to set up the light source as well.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. You can do real world lighting.
And from an experience design point of view as well, that the natural lighting when it comes to the skylight, you still need additional artificial light most of the time anyway.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. But you get quite a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. So that's just to test that the light's working. And so let's make it a bit brighter. So with interiors like this, you will need a fairly low exposure value at first. But there we are. So
And if the whole roof is
that's working.
uplighting, could that do the trick as well? If
Yes, yeah.
Because what I was initially thinking is having like uplighting along here, going up the roof to kind of flood the space.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So you've got you've got the floor lights you can just whack in initially, and then if you've got them hosted by other things, you can make your own later. But the floor lights you can just place pretty automatically in the same way, so you don't even need a ceiling for those. And they're a good option because, if it's a difficult ceiling, then you can always get these in. So I'll just show you those. So in the main library here, you've got a few lights, but nowhere near enough. So if you go to the library that we've got on the P drive, and then in lighting fixtures there should be some floor up lights. Just going to find them. No. So these are all, just lamps that sit on the floor, but there are definitely recessed floor lights. No. No. So is it in lighting? think it's this one. Yeah, I think that's it. No, okay, that's not it. Definitely though, if you have a look in there, it's somewhere in there. I'll just have a quick look again, but I'll have to go searching for that. Oh, we've got these up lights as well. They're definitely like floor lights. Yep. There's another one that I'm looking for. It's like just like the down light. That oh, here we go. Floor light. There we are. These ones. Yep. There we go. So if you've got a floor there, then it should come up. So I'll just put a few of those in. So there we are. And so as you add more lights, just remember your exposure will need to come down. So I'll take it down right away. It does. It's camera controls and real world lighting. So you use exposure and everything in the same way. Yep. So yeah, well actually that's maybe, I mean it's getting towards the right light level, but it's a bit maybe a bit warm. So again, using the exposure controls, I can take the white point down. Yeah, exactly. So you can do all those things. Yeah, yeah. I mean with timber, you might want to emphasise the warmth of it, but yeah, sometimes it gets too much when it's really colourful. Yeah, but I mean, you definitely want to highlight that, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to think about how you can use either end of the colour extreme, so that's fine. Yep, yep.
And then one more lighting question.
Yep, sure, sure.
Like strip LED lighting in?
Yeah, so look with that, have a look on Revit City first.
Yeah.
So the one that's there, it's okay. The one that was in that
Revit City.
that same folder, yeah. So back in here, and yeah, so that strip one. Where is that again? Now I've lost it. Thought there was a strip light in this one, but maybe it was. Oh, here, uplight strip. That's it. Okay, so it's a floating light, so I'll just put that in somewhere there. And it's telling us it's not visible. It must be maybe visible in the ceiling plan. Nope. Okay, so in the section. Yep, there we go. So that's the strip light, and you can always adjust the height from the side afterwards. So I've just taken that down, and so that is an LED light. If I go to here, there we go. You can see that, and so that's a floating light. You can move that around pretty much anywhere because it's not hosted.
So if I were putting that in the floor, embed that into the floor.
Yeah, you'd have to cut a hole out for it though.
Out of the floor.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Otherwise, that should work pretty well. And just check the rendering the way it does the lighting.
Could you rotate that as well if you wanted it to be there rather than there?
You should be able to, yeah. Rotating it sideways. I'll just check that because they do have limitations. Yeah, so in your well, in my other section. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't do anything, but yeah, you can definitely change it. Yeah. I mean, it's the same as modelling anything. So yeah, so here it's just going to depend on the way it's hosted, but I might. No, okay, so you can't rotate it away from the ground plane. This one, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, you could try picking a new host, and it might let you choose a model object, but no. See, this one, it only will use a floor as a host. Even though you can move it away from that, which is handy, but yeah, that sets the angle. It won't use a wall or anything else. But still, it's works pretty well, and you can easily make a light that looks the same that you can adjust. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so anyhow, it's good just to test out those things once you've got the modelling done, but I'll give you some time.